So hello everyone. In this video, we will be discussing about CSS selectors, right? So first of all, what are CSS selectors? So CSS selectors are basically patterns that defines rules for styling your HTML elements on the web page, right? Long story short, CSS selectors will be used to style the elements the way we need or the way we want, right? So let's see CSS selectors in the VS Code. So let's open VS Code under folder tutorials. So here again we have a new folder, tutorial-15, and under that we have an empty index.html file as usual. So this is pretty common for all the videos of this specific playlist. So let's begin with the basic template. Here I'll write CSS selectors, selectors, and let's start with the basic div tag. Before writing anything, I would like to create a new file called styles.css and import it in our index.html file. So here I'll write something like link, and in the href basically I'll provide the path of my styles.css file. So this is the external style sheet we are importing in our HTML document. So this is something I've already talked about in my previous or the first video of this of the CSS introduction basically. Right, so this is the way you want to import something in the head of an HTML document. Right, so dot slash means go to the current directory and look for styles.css and import all the contents of that specific file in the specific document. Great. Now here I'll write, for example, I want two articles. So let's go with the shorthand article into two, right, and then followed by a paragraph tag. We can do something like p into two and followed by lorem 12 maybe. So this is a shortcut which will create two articles for me with paragraph tag inside it with some dummy content. Right, great. Let's stop the server and let's click on go live again. Let's see. Yeah, so we have two paragraphs, right? It's better to give a horizontal line here. Yeah, that's looking good. Great. So let's start with the selectors, right? So the first thing is the global selector, right? So the global selector is basically we can write in the body tag. So a body tag can exist once in your entire web app. I'll show you why. Let's inspect this under the DevTools. Let's go in, okay, here. And then here, as you can see, we have the main HTML file. It's tag basically, and then we have our head bar, and then we have our body tag, as you can see here, right? So this body exists only once inside your app, and under that you can have your entire content, right? So this is selecting all the elements which are like everything inside the body tag. So I'll show you an easy example by saying font size equals to maybe 3 rem. Yeah, too big. It's 2 rem. Yeah, so this is looking good. So as you can see, it is selecting all the tags on my HTML documents. This is because the body, everything is included inside the body tag. So it's increasing the font size of all the HTML tags basically, right? So this is the body tag. Let's say by changing the background color to something like gray. As you can see, it has changed the background color of entire page, right? Let's remove this off. So this is basically the body tag. Right. Guys, let me know if you can see the tags properly, or we can zoom it so that you can see the tags or the styles properly. Right. Let's move ahead. Now, after this is called a global selector. This is called global, or we can write the main slash body selector. Right. Now, next is the global selector. What is that? So here we will categorize this thing basically. For example, I want all my paragraph tags inside my document to have specific styles. So here I'll write p tag, and then here I'll say something like font family. Here I'll give this font family. I'll change the color to maybe cyan and a background color of maybe antique white, right? Let's say in the browser, what is getting changed? Okay, so let's make it gray actually. Yeah. So I'll do one thing for you. Let's see this side by side to the right of the screen, and I want this to the left of the screen. Let's close this off for now. You will see the change in real time here. For example, if I change anything, you see that the color of all the paragraph tags inside your HTML document is getting changed, right? Let's stick with gray color here. So as you can see, this is selecting all the p tags. We have 4 p tags in our HTML document, and everything is getting changed because this is a global selector. So what it will do basically is it will go and find all the paragraph tag inside your web app and change the color. These are not very much useful, guys, but still you need to know, right? Let's move ahead. Let's see the next thing. In the last, I'll show you what are widely used. So first, let's see what are the things that exists actually in the like styling all this stuff. So let's see the next thing, which is attribute selector. So next, what we can have basically is, let's reduce the font size. It's too big. Or we can show something like 1.2. Yeah. So here I'll create a new div tag. Here I'll have an input of type text. Here I'll say a placeholder, say enter your name, self-closing. Let's write another HR tag. Yeah. And here I'll create one more input tag, which is enter your email basically. The type will be same. And here I'll create an input of type button. I'll say submit, right? Now we have 3 different inputs of specific types. Now let's see what is an attribute selector. So here, if I write, we need to write here actually, input of type equals to text, curly braces, and then here if I write a border color of red, you see how this is getting changed. The border color of both the inputs are getting changed to color red. Right. Similarly, you can add all the styles. For example, I want a padding of 10 pixels. You see how this input is growing bigger, right? So this is how an attribute selector is working. Let's see another example. So as you can see here, we have like input of type text, like there are 2 elements with that specific type, and we also have a button type attribute. So let's see input of uh, type equals to, it's like button. Here, let's start the curly braces, close it. And here I'll say, for example, a background color of gray and a color of white. So you see, this is growing again. Let's give a padding of 10 pixels. Yeah, a min width of maybe 45 pixels. Width of 45 pixels. It's too less. Let's stick with 78 pixels. Yeah. So you see, this is changing again. So this is how you select an attribute and style them accordingly. This may be useful when you want to style the specific input element. This was an attribute selector. Now I'll show you one more thing here, which is called pseudo selectors. Pseudo selectors. Let's see what are those. So here I'm styling this element. Just keep it remembered that input of type button, right? So let's see what are pseudo selectors. So here I'll write again input of type equals to button. Here I'll give a colon again. You see, I have a lot of options, right? But I want a focus. right? Here, I'll change the background color when user focuses on the specific like a submit button. So I'll change the background color to maybe green to highlight it. And then color can be maybe aqua. I don't know how is it going to look like. Let's see. Okay, this is not working. Import of type button is there, and then focus. Mhm. Yeah, so it's working. So this is what is the focus, right? So these are called pseudo selectors. There are a lot of other options you can see. We see a lot of options. We don't need to know each and everything for now, but you can see a lot of options and you can play with all the tags basically. Right. Now let's see the most important thing here, which we will be using generally. We won't be using the global and all the selectors. We will need this body tag sometimes, and then this thing sometimes. But what we will be using mostly is, I don't know how to, this is not getting reduced. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here, what what will I do if I want to target this specific paragraph tag? So we have already seen this thing. Here we have two options. The first is class and the second is ID, right? So for example, here, if I write my first paragraph, and here I want to style the specific paragraph, right? So here I'll simply write the class selectors, and here I'll paste this. Yeah, and then here I'll say color of blue. You see how this is getting changed. So here I'll write ID selective, and here I'll say, what can I say? Like the first ID, maybe first ID, save it. Let's go here. And the IDs are always represented by a hashtag, and the class is always represented by a period or dot, right? And here, if I write color to maybe, okay, blue violet, maybe, yeah. So as you can see, this is getting changed, right? Here, let's paste this out. Right, so this is getting changed. So this is a class selector which we'll be using widely. This is ID selector. Now, one thing to notice here is ID selectors are not the best way or best code to select the like elements inside the HTML document. So I'll recommend not to target the elements with the ID, because IDs are most useful when we'll start with the JavaScript stuff and start with the event listeners and all those stuff like the functionality things, right? So the thing is that like IDs are basically unique. So the IDs like ID styles are not recommended generally to style your HTML elements, right? So this is pretty much it about this video, guys. Like we have what we have learned here is different kinds of CSS selectors, like in how many ways you can like target the HTML elements and select them accordingly, right? I've also put the comments. You can see it here, right? So this is it for this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.